Hi everybody, it's John Kadlic, the CEO here at Parallel Path. I am on OhioHealth's campus today for the latest edition of Trail Talks, and I'm with my buddy, Katy Rigsby,
Hi everybody.
the VP of Marketing and Comms here at OhioHealth, and we're just gonna have a little chat today. So maybe you could just tell everybody a little bit about what you do at OhioHealth, Katy, as a good starting point, and we'll get into a few questions along the way.
For sure, I'd love to do that. So obviously you and I go way back to the agency
we do.
days.
We got history.
And it's so fun to work together again. But here at OhioHealth, I actually sometimes equate my job to being almost like a little internal agency. So I have folks on my team who are responsible for things like customer insights and user experience and creative services, content development, graphic design. We do all the brand strategy work, and we get to partner a lot with agencies like yours. It's a
You got
fun
a lot
job.
of stuff on
I
your
love
plate.
it.
Well, one of the things I've always admired about OhioHealth in particular, and the work that you and your team have done, are we going the right way, or do you want to go this way?
I think we can go this way.
Is that you're very thoughtful about thinking about a consumer's journey
Yes.
with OhioHealth, or with just their health journey in
Yes.
general. So, all the things you've studied over time, are there a few trends or maybe wants and needs that you see from today's consumers when it comes to how they engage with their healthcare partners?
Yeah, just watch. We have to watch our step here.
Okay,
There's a little barrier on the trail.
We can deal with hurdles.
Yeah, it's a great question. So what I think is interesting about healthcare, if you think about it as like a product or service, it's really universal, right? And I'm not saying that like it's equally available to everybody, right? I'm not saying
Right.
that there aren't health equity issues, or I'm not saying there aren't healthcare disparities, and I'm not saying that it's affordable for everybody. But for most Americans, they've experienced healthcare in some way in their lifetime, right? They've gone into a physician's office or a free clinic or a mobile unit, or gone into the emergency department with a family member. And so what we universally hear as people talk about their experience, and I think it's agnostic to any customer segment, is that we need to make it easier. It's too complicated to navigate, and they just want it to be easier. So I think that's been a big focus that we've had in recent years.
So, like, go a little deeper on that. Does that mean, like, get all the bureaucracy and nonsense out of my way, make it easier to schedule appointments, make sure I don't have to sit in a waiting room for a long time?
I think it's
all those things,
I think it's all those things. So, one of the things, and you've partnered with us on some of this, is we've been really intentional about creating our journey maps for our customers. And we've kind of an end-to-end customer journey map.
Yeah.
And we've broken that journey map into some sub-journeys that are very specific to points in time as people are navigating their care. And within that, of course, we focus on key moments that matter and how we can leave an impression, good or bad, during those moments that matter. But so, like, in the last several years, we've probably been focused most on the upfront part of the journey, right? Like, how do people find a physician? How do they schedule an appointment? Creating more access for appointments, letting them do that online, that sort of thing. And in recent years, we've been focused more further down the journey in terms of where people are receiving care or needing follow-up care, right? So, for example, you go into your primary care office. You might be of this demographic, so just you go into your primary care office and they say, John, you need to see a cardiologist, right? So we're really focused on things like now, like making sure you leave your primary care appointment with the follow-up appointment already scheduled with the cardiologist.
Thank
so that you are
goodness.
that's what we're working toward, right? We don't have it completely solved, and that's just one example where we're really leaning in, but that's the ideal thing, right? So that people aren't trying to figure that out when you're in the parking lot and you find out you need to see a cardiologist and you're upset and your wife's worried and all that stuff. So
okay, that's good.
But that's how we're kind of breaking down the customer journeys and trying to lean in and figure out where those opportunities exist.
Okay. I know OhioHealth's had a long history with being particularly good about serving women's needs. And of course you take care of everybody, but I'm saying women's journey with OhioHealth, and I'm wondering if there's some unique aspects of her thoughts and her wants and needs and desires that stand out to you in your journey work.
Yes. We deliver a lot of babies. I think pretty much almost the most in the state.
Yes.
So we have a long history and legacy there. We are kind of leaning more into some women's health initiatives. We're making some significant investments there. But one of the things that we're starting with is making sure that women feel like that we're listening to them and that we understand them and we're meeting them where they are on their journey. So an example of that, I mean, I think most women are viewed as the chief health and wellness officers for their households, right? They make the healthcare appointments, they make sure that everybody's getting the follow-up, taking the meds and things like that. And I think as a woman I already knew this, but I think what we've kind of validated is that women often take that role at the expense of their own healthcare, right? So they're not prioritizing their own healthcare. We've also started to learn more about how women are feeling when they have kind of like, I'm gonna say like gaps in their care. So like myself, I'm in my 50s, I am in menopause. Do I feel like I'm getting the right support and care during menopause? I will say even for me, it's been kind of confusing to navigate. So things like that. And sadly, we've also heard that a lot of times women are feeling very dismissed by their healthcare providers. Sometimes they're feeling a little gaslit, like you come in or the woman comes in and starts to describe signs and symptoms of how they're feeling, and it's like, oh, you're fine. It's maybe in your head. So we're not at a point where we're bringing forward a lot of solutions at this point. We're really just doing a lot of listening so that when we do go out and start to offer more programs and services, and as marketers, we start to help make that connection, that women feel like that we've been listening to understand them, and we can meet them where they are. We've been talking about kind of the seasons of their life, and that's where we want to meet them.
I love that phrasing, seasons of their life. And we know from our own research that like all the things that relate to a person's health and wellness kind of connect, even if it's not being served directly by your organization. So if I'm struggling with mental health issues, or I'm seeing somebody outside the network, if you will, that all that needs to be considered in my journey.
Absolutely. So it's all connected.
Yeah. What about some, like as you look down the road a little bit, maybe some things that you can share, maybe some things you don't want to share about like future trends and things you're working on as a team to get out ahead of maybe some new opportunities that are on the horizon, or you're hearing, demands that will probably be more prevalent in a couple years.
For sure. And let me know if you want to swing back around if this is getting too, we got to be safe. There's a road up ahead.
That's right. We don't want to get hit.
So, I mean, I think in general, most health systems are facing a lot of the similar kind of challenges or trends, right? We're all dealing with staffing shortages, in particular with nursing. We have a lot of increased labor expense, and that's where I think you're hearing a lot about things like AI possibly coming into play.
Right.
But obviously as a health system, there's a lot of like ethical considerations associated with that, right? How we'll use it, when we'll use it. Sorry, we just little stop sign here.
That's right.
I'm trying to make
this
our way
is what
through
happens
the
on an
traffic.
urban trail talk versus being in the woods.
Making sure we don't get hit by a car.
That's right. You want to cut back here or keep going and cut? We'll go. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. So things like that, obviously there's a lot of disruptors entering our market, and it'll be interesting to see if those disruptors stick. And then kind of like so that's more macro level, right? And then I think, in the aging baby boomer population, right? We're not baby boomers yet, but
thank goodness.
I know, but they're starting to retire, right? And that's putting more demands on health systems, and there's more kind of chronic conditions and things that need to be managed. So all of those things come into play.
Yeah.
I would say as a marketing team, some of the things that we're wrestling with is like, how do we focus on creating more personalized experiences for people and have them feel like we're connecting with them, but doing it with respect to data privacy guidelines that are kind of always changing. I mean, some of the new guidance that's come out regarding marketing technology and tracking.
Really hard.
Super hard. And how are we demonstrating our value to the C-suite? Like, how are we demonstrating that return on marketing investment and that sort of thing? So it's a lot.
It's a lot
to navigate.
I'd say so. Well, maybe kind of bringing it home a little bit. Like, what's one thing you do for your own personal health and wellness on a regular basis?
Well, let's take a quick little side story.
Okay.
Since, again, you and I used to work together in agency land.
Yes.
I know you still do. I would often deprioritize my health and wellness when I worked in an agency. And when I came to Ohio Health, being a healthcare company, I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I feel very fortunate. I go to a lot of group fitness classes. I try to walk normally around 3 miles a day if I can get it in. Ride bikes with my husband, those types of things. But I feel like working here, I have a lot of permission to prioritize that into my schedule, which is great.
So it's sort of moved up the ranks on your personal priority
Yeah.
list, and you purposely carve out time
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
take care of yourself.
But you have to be intentional about it, and that's what I try to do, right? Like blocking your calendar, making sure that you leave, that you don't, miss that class or miss an opportunity to get outside or something
Yeah.
like that. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it, Katy.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
I am waiting to go to Colorado, though, and go on a real trail walk. So just
All
so you
right,
know.
so the next version of Trail Talks with Katy Rigsby will be in Colorado.
In
So we're going
Boulder.
to make that happen. So, but appreciate the time as
You're
always. It's
welcome.
great to hear from
You're
you and to
welcome.
share your thoughts and wisdom. So that's the latest edition of Trail Talks. We'll see you somewhere else out on the trail here soon. Take care, everybody.